In the heart of Texas, where the sun shines bright and the people are friendly, lived a wonderful nurse named Maria Gutierrez. Everyone in town knew Maria. She had a smile that could light up a room and a heart even bigger. Maria worked at the local hospital, helping people feel better. She gave shots, bandaged boo-boos, and always had a kind word for everyone, young or old. Maria wasn't born in Texas, but she loved it there. She had come from Mexico to follow her dream of being a nurse. She worked hard, studied a lot, and became one of the best nurses in the whole hospital. Patients always asked for Maria because they knew she would take good care of them. She knew just what to say to make them feel safe and comfortable. Her hands were gentle, and she listened carefully to everyone's worries. Whether it was a little scrape or a big problem, Maria was always there to help. The kids especially loved her because she would put funny bandages on them and tell them stories to make them laugh, even when they were feeling poorly. She was more than just a nurse. She was a friend to everyone in the community. But being from Mexico meant Maria had to follow certain rules to live and work in the United States. She had a special paper called a visa that allowed her to stay. Every few years, she needed to renew it, like getting a new library card. Maria was always careful to do everything right and on time. Right now, Maria was waiting for her visa to be renewed. She had sent in all the papers and was just waiting for the government to say it was okay. It was usually a simple process, but it could take a little while. Maria wasn't worried because she knew she had done everything she was supposed to do. She loved her life in Texas. She had made many friends, had a cozy little house with a garden full of colorful flowers, and a sweet dog named Chico. She dreamed of becoming a citizen one day, so she could vote and feel even more like she belonged. But for now, she was happy to be a nurse, helping people and making her little corner of the world a better place. She trusted that everything with her visa would work out just fine. One sunny morning, while Maria was busy helping a little boy with a scraped knee, something unexpected happened at the hospital. Suddenly, people in dark uniforms rushed in. They were from ICE, which stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They said they were there to do an audit, which is like checking all the papers to make sure everyone is following the rules. The hospital became very noisy and confusing. People were whispering and looking scared. The ICE agents were walking around, asking questions and looking at documents. Some patients started to cry, and the nurses tried to calm them down. It felt like a scene from a movie, but it was real. Maria felt a knot in her stomach. She knew she hadn't done anything wrong, but she still felt nervous. She had heard stories about ICE and how they sometimes took people away, even if they were good people. She tried to stay calm and focus on her patients, but it was hard with all the commotion. The happy, cheerful hospital had turned into a place of fear and uncertainty. Suddenly, one of the ICE agents walked up to Maria. He had a serious face and a clipboard in his hand. "Maria Gutierrez?" he asked, his voice firm. Maria nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "We need to ask you some questions," the agent said. They led her to a small, empty office. Maria showed them her ID and explained that her visa renewal was in process. She even showed them the paper she had sent in. But the agent didn't seem to care. He said there was a problem with her paperwork, something about a missing form. Maria tried to explain that she had followed all the instructions, but he wouldn't listen. Then, the agent said the words that Maria had been dreading. "We're going to have to detain you." Detain meant they were going to hold her like being in a kind of jail. Maria felt like the world was spinning. She couldn't believe this was happening. But I haven't done anything wrong," she cried, tears welling up in her eyes. The agent just shook his head and told her to gather her belongings. Maria was taken away, leaving behind her friends, her patients, and the life she loved. She felt lost and scared, not knowing what would happen next. Now, let's meet two ICE agents, Agent Thompson and Agent Rodriguez. They were both hard workers, dedicated to their jobs. They believed in following the rules and keeping everyone safe. What they didn't know was that Maria had touched their lives in a very special way. Agent Thompson had a little boy named Billy. One day, Billy got very sick. He had a high fever and couldn't breathe well. Agent Thompson rushed him to the hospital, scared and worried. Maria was the nurse on duty that night. She quickly took Billy's temperature, listened to his chest, and gave him medicine to help him breathe. She stayed by Billy's side, comforting him and making sure he was okay. Thanks to Maria's quick thinking, Billy got better. Agent Thompson was so grateful to her for saving his son's life. Agent Rodriguez also had a personal connection to Maria. His elderly mother had fallen and broken her hip. She was in a lot of pain and needed surgery. Maria was the nurse who cared for her after the surgery. She helped her with her exercises, made sure she took her medicine, and always had a kind word to cheer her up. Agent Rodriguez was so thankful for Maria's gentle care and patience, which helped his mother recover quickly. He admired her dedication and compassion. Let's go back in time for a moment. Imagine little Billy, struggling to breathe, his face red and his eyes wide with fear. Maria, with her calm voice and gentle hands, quickly assessed the situation. She remembered her training and knew exactly what to do. She gave Billy oxygen, which helped him breathe easier, and called the doctor right away. She stayed with Billy, holding his hand and telling him stories about funny animals to distract him from his fear. She even sang him a little song in Spanish, which made him smile. Agent Thompson, watching Maria, felt a wave of relief wash over him. He knew his son was in good hands. Now picture Agent Rodriguez's mother, lying in her hospital bed, her hip bandaged and her face etched with pain. Maria would patiently help her with her exercises, encouraging her to take small steps each day. She would tell her stories about her own grandmother and how she had overcome challenges. She would bring her colorful flowers from her garden to brighten her room. Agent Rodriguez's mother started to call Maria her angel because she brought so much comfort and hope during a difficult time. Maria's kindness made a huge difference in her recovery. Back at the hospital, word started to spread like wildfire about what had happened to Maria. People couldn't believe it. How could they take away someone so kind and helpful? Someone who had dedicated her life to caring for others? The nurses, doctors, and even the patients were outraged. Soon, the local newspaper picked up the story. They wrote about Maria's dedication to her job and how much she was loved in the community. They also mentioned that she was waiting for her visa renewal and had always followed the rules. Then, someone remembered that Agent Thompson's son and Agent Rodriguez's mother had both been treated by Maria. The newspaper printed those stories too. People were shocked. They couldn't believe that IC would detain someone who had actually saved the lives of their own agent's family members. The story went viral on the internet, and soon everyone was talking about it. People were saying it was unfair and that Maria should be released immediately. They questioned how the rules could be so strict that they overlooked the kindness and compassion of a person like Maria. Agent Thompson and Agent Rodriguez were shocked when they heard the news. They couldn't believe that the woman they had detained was the same nurse who had saved Agent Thompson's son and cared for Agent Rodriguez's mother. A wave of guilt washed over them. Agent Thompson remembered how scared he had been when Billy was sick and how Maria had calmed him down. He thought about her gentle smile and her reassuring words. He started to question whether he had done the right thing. He knew he was just following orders, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he had made a mistake. Agent Rodriguez felt the same way. He remembered how much his mother had appreciated Maria's kindness and how she had always talked about her angel nurse. He realized that Maria was not just a name on a piece of paper. She was a real person who had made a positive impact on his family's life. Both agents felt torn between their duty and their conscience. They started to wonder if there was something they could do to help Maria. They couldn't ignore the fact that they owed her a debt of gratitude. Meanwhile, the community was not giving up. People gathered outside the ICE building, holding signs that said, "Free Maria" and "Kindness Matters." They chanted her name and shared stories about how she had helped them or their loved ones. The nurses from the hospital organized a petition asking for Maria's release. Even little Billy, Agent Thompson's son, drew a picture of Maria with a heart around her and gave it to his dad, asking him to help her. The protests and petitions gained more and more attention. News reporters interviewed Maria's friends and colleagues, who spoke about her dedication and compassion. They emphasized that she was a valuable member of the community and that her detention was a terrible mistake. Lawyers offered to help Maria with her case pro bono, which meant they would work for free. The community was united in their support for Maria, determined to bring her home. They knew that she deserved to be treated with fairness and respect. They wouldn't rest until she was released. The leaders at ICE were in a difficult spot. They had rules to follow, but they also had to consider what people thought. The news about Maria had spread everywhere, and many people were angry. They didn't want to be seen as unfair or unkind. Agent Thompson and Agent Rodriguez decided to speak up. They went to their boss and told him about how Maria had helped their families. They explained that she was a good person and a valuable member of the community. They asked their boss to reconsider her case. The ICE leaders listened to the agents and looked at all the information again. They saw that Maria had followed the rules and that her visa renewal was in progress. They also realized that detaining her was causing a lot of pain and anger in the community. They had to decide what was the right thing to do. It was a tough decision, balancing the rules with the needs of the people. They knew that whatever they decided, some people would be happy and some people would be upset. Finally, the ICE leaders made their decision. They announced that they would release Maria while her visa renewal was being processed. They said they had reviewed her case and realized that there had been a mistake. They also thanked Agents Thompson and Rodriguez for bringing the matter to their attention. The news spread quickly, and the community erupted in cheers. People hugged each other, cried tears of joy, and celebrated Maria's release. They knew that their voices had been heard and that their efforts had made a difference. They had shown that kindness and compassion could triumph over strict rules. Maria was overjoyed when she heard the news. She couldn't wait to go back to her friends, her patients, and her dog, Chico. She was grateful for all the support she had received and promised to continue serving her community as a nurse. She knew that this experience had changed her, but had also made her stronger and more determined to make a positive impact on the world. Even though Maria was back home, things weren't quite the same. The experience had left a mark on her heart. She was so thankful for all the love and support she had received, but she couldn't forget the fear and uncertainty she had felt when she was detained. She started to worry about her visa renewal. What if something went wrong? What if they tried to take her away again? She tried to push those thoughts away and focus on her work, but it was hard. She also felt sad that she had been treated like a criminal, even though she had always followed the rules and tried to be a good person. Maria realized that the world wasn't always fair and that sometimes bad things happen to good people. But she also learned that there was a lot of kindness and compassion in the world. She decided to use her experience to help others who were going through similar situations. She wanted to be a voice for those who were afraid and to show them that they were not alone. She became an even stronger advocate for fairness and justice. Maria's story makes us think. Are rules always the most important thing? Should we always follow them, even if it means being unkind or unfair? What if following the rules hurts someone who has done nothing wrong, someone who has helped others? This story reminds us that it's important to remember our humanity. It's important to be kind, compassionate, and fair. It's important to listen to our hearts and to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult. Maybe, just maybe, if we all try to be a little more like Maria, the world will be a better place. A place where kindness matters more than rules, and where everyone is treated with fairness and respect. A place where even when rules are followed, they are applied with a heart. Let's all try to remember Maria's story and to choose kindness whenever we can. Because sometimes the most important rule is to be kind. And always, always remember that everyone deserves to be treated like a human being.